Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here in my little Zoom room here. Congratulations on your admission to graduate school. It is no easy thing to be admitted to graduate school, and it takes a lot of effort on your part, and of course, quite a bit of qualification. So first and foremost, I just want to congratulate you again and let you know how excited we are to be able to have this conversation with you, and also hopefully to welcome you to our community in the coming months. So thanks so much for joining. My name is Rebecca Vander Schaaf. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the George Washington University's Graduate School of Education and Human Development. And today we're going to talk about a few different things, but we'll start with like the very basic, which hopefully all of you have already figured out, which is where to find your admission letter and what's in it. I want to talk a little bit more about how to learn more about the program that you're considering attending. And then a question we get so often, as we should, is about calculating the return on investment and figuring out whether or not GW is really the right spot for you, because we need this to be a good fit both for us and also for you. And then I'll explain a little bit about what happens after you decide, yes, I'm going to attend, and you click that I accept my admission button, and sort of where we go from there. At the end, I'm happy to answer questions, so please feel free to type those into the chat as we go. If you have questions that are specific to your case, I probably won't answer those in front of the full group, but I am happy to reach out to you separately. So you can still type your question in, you could send it privately, or you can send it to my email address, which we can add in the chat. And you're more than welcome to reach out, and I'll make sure if I'm not the right person to answer your question, we'll figure out who is, and we'll get you all settled. So let's jump into hopefully the easiest part of this conversation, which is where do you find your admission letter? And if you've been granted a scholarship, where is that information? The short answer is it's in your GW student portal. If you click that apply button at the top of our website, it's going to take you to this exact same spot. There's a long, complicated link here on the screen. And if you don't want to copy that, and just go to our website and click on that apply button. You're going to log in with your same username and password that you used to submit your application. And then you're going to click a couple buttons and you're going to get to your admission letter, which looks something like this, except it's probably a bit longer. So if you are offered a scholarship, it's going to be in your admission letter. And so here's an example. Typically, we'll include the full amount of your award and then say how many semesters it will be evenly distributed over. If you have questions about which semesters those are likely to be distributed, we can help you work through that separately. And then at the end of your admission letter, not shown on the screen, there should be some additional information. For example, the fact that you'll have to turn in any official transcripts that you haven't already, the fact that we require you to attend an orientation, etc. So make sure you check out that language at the bottom. It's usually under my signature in the admission letter. So hopefully you all found this, and this is just repetitive for you, but if you haven't, hope this is helpful. The next thing I want to talk about is how to learn more about your program. Before you commit to graduate school, I hope that you'll really get to know us and make sure that this is the right fit for you. So at the very basic level, you can find the requirements for graduation, what courses are going to be completely required versus electives that you get to choose from in our university bulletin. This is the most official source of information. Our website actually matches this. So you can look on our website, but if you want sort of like the original source of information, you'll find it in the university bulletin. And normally when I find this, I just Google search it. I just say GW bulletin and it'll come right up. So that's a great place to start. Another thing you can do is chat with your admissions representative. If you don't know who that is, let us know and we'll connect you. But my office is happy to chat with you, and we can provide general information about your program, requirements, what is it like to be a student, where do students live, where else can you find financial aid options, all sorts of different things in that category. So it's a good place to start if you have questions. And then the other thing I'd suggest is connecting with your program directly. So take the time to get to know more about the curriculum. If you haven't attended an information session and there are some available, that's a great place to tap into some faculty conversations. You could ask your program chair for a recommendation of a current student or a past student to chat with, to hear a little bit more about the program from their perspective. I just encourage you to dig in and get to know us, and make sure that this is really the right fit for you, because this is a big investment for you and also for us. So speaking of investment, I told you I wanted to talk a little bit about how to calculate the return on investment, because this is an area I think a lot of admitted students struggle in, and it's critical to your success as a student. So the first thing I'd recommend, and I know this is sometimes hard to do, but if you can get an idea of what your salary is likely to look like after graduation, that can offer you a lot of information about what you should be investing financially, and also what you should be investing personally at this stage. I normally start with glassdoors.com salaries, which is probably not an original answer, but it does have some good information. You can put in where you think you're going to want to be located, or you could check out a bunch of different regions. You can type in different job titles, different industries, and just sort of see what's the range. Where would you maybe, what's entry level, or if you're at the midpoint in your career, what does the midpoint look like? If you're in K through 12 education, are there bands and you're at your specific school or in your district that you're interested in? Try to find some information. You could talk to other people in the field about what they think is reasonable to expect. And that sort of just gives you something to aim for on the other end, right? And then the other thing I'd recommend thinking about is, what are the non-financial benefits of attending? So what type of expanded network could you expect if you attend GW? What kind of faculty mentorship can you expect? What kind of connections to employers can you expect? What kind of opportunities will you have to get to know other students and enjoy being in graduate school? And part of this is sort of gauging whether, again, we're the right fit for you. So can you thrive here? Will you be able to study when you're in the heart of DC? Will you be able to network? Can you build friendships? Can you get to know our faculty? Can you enjoy living in the district or in the surrounding area? If your answers to these questions are no, I would be hesitant to recommend our programs for you, because I want you to enjoy graduate school, and that's what you should do. If the answers are yes, and I hope they are, then you found the right fit, and I hope you'll join us. But these are all, the weight of all of these individual factors is really hard to determine, because it's all up to you. It's personal. But we're happy to answer questions in these areas and help you navigate getting all of this information. The other part of this, of course, is what is the financial cost of attending? And so if you want to dive really deep into this, I recommend my other Ask Me Anything session on financial aid. And if there's not one coming up, I know there's a recording on YouTube that you could take a look at. But I'm going to give you just like a quick overview here, just so you have a taste. So to estimate the cost of your GW education, you need the current rate of tuition and fees, you need the number of credits required for graduation, and then you need scholarships, tuition grants, tuition discounts and grants. So anything you've been offered as part of your admission packet. To find the current rate of tuition, if it's not on your program webpage, then you're going to find it at this link. And if you need help finding it, just let us know. It's kind of a confusing spreadsheet. So that link that I just navigated away from goes to this page. You'll click on Graduate School of Education and Human Development, and then it'll take you to, not that page, but a complicated spreadsheet that we can help you navigate. But essentially, you're going to find the tuition rate per credit, and then you're going to multiply that by the number of credits required for graduation. Now, this isn't going to be exact, because just like every other higher ed institution in the US, tuition and fees They go up almost every year. I promise you, people like me fight that, but the board still raises it a little bit. So you want to potentially assume 2 to 3% increase each year. You'll add any fees that are required, and that's also included on that link that I just mentioned, and then subtract any scholarship. So this is going to give you sort of like that raw number that you're going to be looking at. And then you have the fun task of figuring out, one, whether or not that works for you, or two, whether or not you need to find additional sources of funding. So I would suggest, even if you don't think you need additional sources of funding, maybe start to look for some. It's not too late in the year, even if you're attending for summer, to start looking for external scholarships. We have a small list on the bottom of our funding page that you could start with, but this is one of those things where you kind of just have to start Googling, just start searching and see what you find, and you want to apply to anything you think you might be eligible for. This is also not something that you can only do right now. You can also apply to external scholarships throughout your graduate program. So we often have people, for example, in like PhD dissertation, who are applying for grants and scholarships to cover the cost of their dissertation work. So this can be a really powerful way to lower the cost. Two, many of our students work. So some programs are not set up well for this. So some of our counseling master's programs, for example, it's pretty hard to work. Our elementary education program sometimes makes it really hard to work during your program, but most of our other ones do allow you. And actually the schedules are set up so that you can work during the day and attend class, maybe starting at like 4 p.m. in the afternoon, just a couple days a week. So if you're eligible to look for off-campus work, I would encourage it. If you're eligible to work as a GW employee, you could get full tuition remission. So that would be something to consider. And then if you are eligible to work on campus, and that's even open to international students, that's also something that you could consider doing. So that information will be on our student employment website. And then the third thing I'll say is that you want to think carefully about when is the best time to start your graduate education. Economically speaking, from a very non-emotional point of view here, the earliest point to go to graduate school, or the best time to go, is going to be the earliest point that you are ready. Graduate school tuition tends to only get more expensive. By delaying going to graduate school, you're pushing off what should be a higher salary. However, you also don't want to go if you're not ready to take advantage of it. So finding that middle ground is important, and that's where you're going to get the most bang for your investment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that you've decided to attend GW now, and I want to talk about what happens after you accept your admission. So there's a number of things you can do. You can start setting up your GW accounts. You can get your email address pretty quickly, actually, within a few days, so that's kind of exciting. You can start submitting required compliance documentation. You can review your academic program requirements. You can register for classes if registration is open. The GSEHD New Student Guide is a great place to start. So that's one place I would recommend starting there. So GW has a COVID policy. We do require most students to be fully vaccinated. There are exceptions, and I am not an expert in that, but you can find information at this website here at the top link. So if you have questions about that, please feel free to reach out to our student health center and work with them to clear that up. I don't think you can register without being cleared by their office. If you are an online student, this COVID policy will not apply to you. So this is really just if you're planning to attend any of your classes in person. All of our students have to submit official transcripts in order to comply with US regulations. So if you have not already, and you are planning to attend, I would go ahead and request official transcripts be sent to our office. Electronic is easiest for everybody and usually cheaper for you. So there's an email address here where you could send that. If you need to mail it, we can get you the full address. It's not showing up here, but hold on one second. I just take a quick sip of water. All right, sorry about that. So you can go ahead and mail them to our office as well. And then you also are able to meet with a student services advisor, and this person will walk with you through basically your whole time at GW. So you can go ahead and set up a meeting with that person, and they can start to share information about registration and all of that. For any international students we have on the line here, we do have an international student guide that provides instructions on the student visa process. So I encourage you to check that out and get started as early as you can. And then finally, I just wanted to make a little plug. If you're available in person on March 31st, we are just about to send out invitations for an in-person preview day, and we'd love to have you attend. So it's in the afternoon on that Friday. And then we'll have a virtual one following on the following Wednesday. So I'm going to stop, take another drink of water, and then I'm happy to start answering questions for you all. All right. So a couple questions right off the bat about when you might have gotten your offer of admission. They come at all times, but hopefully if you're in this webinar, you have been admitted. But if you have specific questions, let us know. A good time to start looking for jobs or GA ships now, as early as you can. If you're looking at on-campus jobs, most of them for like summer and fall semester will be posted maybe like a month or two, like a month or during the semester. So probably a little bit later. For students coming from out of state, someone's asking what resources are available. I'm assuming you're talking about housing. And so we do have an off-campus housing office to help connect you with resources. So if you need that information, just let us know. GA positions, another question about them. We have very few full tuition GA positions. Most of them are for our PhD students. But if you are interested, you could let your faculty know and just make sure they know that you'd like to be considered. I believe our students do have access to GW facilities, so you are a member of our community. You should have access to our gym, libraries, all of that. A question about official transcripts. If you submitted them as part of your application, then you should be all set. But if you want to double check, you can just let me know and I can quickly double check in your file. There's a couple of questions about counseling and licensure eligibility, and I'm not going to answer those in this setting just because I want to be 100% sure that I'm saying the right thing. That's a great question for faculty though, so I would encourage anyone with questions about licensure eligibility to check with faculty. A good question about a deposit. We do not ask for money to reserve your spot in the program. So it is free to decide to attend. And the deadline to decide when you'll attend is actually listed in your admission letter. Normally it's like March or April 15th. Couple questions about people who are coming straight from an undergraduate program, which is great, and when they would be able to turn in official transcripts. You have until the end of your first semester here at GW to turn that in. So if you're graduating even like a month before you would start your program, we can normally work with you. And typically your graduation or your final transcript from your prior university is available within a few months of graduation. So that should be okay. If you did not see a scholarship in your admission letter and you are interested, please do reach out to our office. We're happy to chat with you about options, about what might be available. A couple of questions about full-time employees at GW. So if you're welcome to apply to jobs at GW if you're eligible. And one of the benefits of being an employee here is full tuition remission. I do believe you pay taxes on your courses, but other than that, the tuition should be covered. So that is one way that sometimes students will pay for their education. There's a couple of questions about parking on campus. I would recommend just looking up GW student parking for information about that. And we do participate in UPass as well. So that's with the DC Metro system. A couple more questions about housing are coming in. We do not have on-campus housing for graduate students. So all of our students live off campus. But we do have a housing office that can help connect you with resources that will help you find off-campus housing. So if you have questions or you're concerned about that, please do let us know and we'll be happy to work with you. A question about the deadline to accept admission and whether or not that's flexible. It can be flexible. So if you have, if your commit deadline is earlier than you want, ask us and see if we'll move it back for you. Usually, unless there's a reason we can't, we'll definitely work with you to let you have more time to make a decision. All right, I'm going to take a couple more questions and then we're going to let you all go here. A question about the best email address to reach out for questions about your admission. education@gwu.edu will go to our general email address and then we'll make sure you get an answer from there. Or if that doesn't work, just email me directly and I'm happy to forward your email to the right place. And then it looks like the final question is about AmeriCorps. Oh, I'm working on. So GW matches the AmeriCorps award. And if you Google AmeriCorps GW, you'll get to the right spot, I think, but that is through not our school, but the GW financial office. So let me know if you have trouble finding that information and I'll figure it out with you. Okay, one last question about graduate assistantships. Graduate assistantships they are given out, well, by my office, but by faculty recommendation. We are accepting 5 or 6 new graduate assistants this year. So they're pretty competitive. If you're interested in a graduate assistantship, definitely let your faculty know, or you can let me know if you don't know who your faculty are. And I can make sure that you are put in the consideration. Typically, those awards will go out between now and April 1st. So I hope that answers the question.
Rebecca, I had a quick question that I thought was easier to verbalize than type out. I know that the deadline for the clinical counseling program is April 15th or so. And in that email, they mentioned, it was the admissions email, I believe they mentioned that, if you don't accept by then, that you're waitlisted. I received a follow-up email about attending one of the mandatory advising sessions. And they said that if you attend one of the sessions and then you don't accept, that your offer will be rescinded completely. I'm wondering if you could clarify that or if you have any insight into that process at all.
So firstly, this is very specific to the clinical mental health counseling program. So for those of you not looking at that program, this will not apply to you. For this program only, in order to reserve your spot, because it is so competitive, you are required to attend an advising session and to register for classes by April 15th. If you do not, your spot will basically be given away. So we might be able to add you back to a wait list, but you're not guaranteed your spot back. However, if you have questions about this, if you can't make one of the sessions, you're having trouble registering, if you need more time, let us know and we will work with you to figure something out. So I do hope that helps, but I know it's a little bit of a different process just for that program. All right. Well, it was lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for joining in, and congratulations again on your admission. Again, if you have more questions, and I know you will, let us know. We're happy to help. And I hope you choose GW. I hope to see you on campus soon. Thanks, everyone.